Today, I'm going to be sharing with you my #1 interview tip.
Welcome to Leaders Path, a leadership and recruitment blog delivering wide-ranging content that will help you be a great leader. Brought to you by Middleton's Assured Talent, management and leadership recruitment specialists.
Hi there, Nick Middleton here, Managing Director of Middleton's Assured Talent, experts in IT and business change recruitment. Today I'm going to share with you my #1 interview tip, and it's very simple. Know your experience. So I'm going to presume that you've got all the common sense stuff covered. You're going to be looking as smart as you can. You're going to be dressed appropriately. You're going to get there on time. You're going to have done your research on the company. I guess what I'm keen to focus on is what are the other things that you need to do. And I think there's lots of interview advice out there, and what I quite often find is that it perhaps overcomplicates things, makes the preparation quite lengthy. It perhaps actually creates more stress in the interview itself because you're trying to have to think about too many things. I think if you just know your experience, you will perform much better in an interview situation. So why? Well, you will undoubtedly have create a greater impact in answering questions with an example rather than just giving a generic response. So if you can tell the interviewer the specific time that you did the thing that they're asking about, even when he's not necessarily asked for a specific example, it's always going to add a lot more weight to your response, and they're going to be more convinced of what you've done previously. Perhaps it's also scenarios where you by knowing your experience, you know the things that you haven't done before. And again, that open and honesty in an interview situation where you can say, well, look, that isn't something I've done, but what I can tell you about is how I approached a similar situation in work, or how I approached a situation where I had to learn something new because I didn't know about it, and then giving the detailed example of when you did that before, I think is going to create a lot more strength in your response, and I think a lot more credibility in you as a person. The other key thing is just you will be much more relaxed in the interview situation if you're going in to be yourself and just utilising what you've done before to create a detailed view of how you can do this person's role. If you're more relaxed, you're going to listen better, you're going to ask more relevant and natural questions, and I think in general you're going to create a better impression of yourself, or certainly a more honest impression of yourself. And I think the key thing in an interview is that you shouldn't try and be someone that you're not. Not every job is for you, and not every company is going to be for you. And I think you've just got to present yourself in the most honest way to make sure that match is right. So how are you going to do this? How are you going to learn your experience and make it fresh in your mind for the interview? Well, there's a few tips I've got on this. The first thing, read your CV. Look at what jobs you've done when you did it. I know it sounds obvious, but I think refreshing your memory just by reading through your CV, thinking of the different tasks and responsibilities you had at different times. And I'd even say read old CVs. You might have an older version of your CV that has some detail about a previous role that actually has some experience on it that could be quite relevant to this job that you're applying for. So read those CVs, and that'll be much fresher in your mind. I think probably one of the most important tips though is think about a list of either projects, achievements, tasks, responsibilities that you've had over the last few years, and write them down, particularly ones that are obviously going to be relevant to this particular job that you're applying for. So write down each one, write a very brief title, maybe a few words that just explains the context of what the thing is. Put a time frame in it, so whether that's just the year that you did that thing or even the specific months, whatever it is. And leave it there. Don't write anything else. And then go through that list and in your mind just relive each of those projects or tasks or whatever it is. Go into the detail of, what was the project, what were the challenges that you had to face, what did you overcome to make it happen, what was unsuccessful, what was successful, what did you learn? There's a whole range of things that you can think about for that one task or project. But what you'll find is you could probably go through the detail of each one in your mind in perhaps less than a minute. Now, if you were to write each of those down in full detail, that would probably take you about 20 minutes each. But if you just go through that in your mind, you'll find that whether your interview's tomorrow or in a week's time, just having done that, it will be much fresher and you'll be able to recall it in the interview situation. I guess the other thing you could do just to reacquaint yourself with your experience is to look at your job spec if you've still got one for the role that you're currently doing. This just might kind of in a handy way list out the different objectives and responsibilities, activities of your current role. And I guess another one, this one's not necessarily just about knowing your experience, but look at old appraisals. It's great for reminding you of what your strengths are and perhaps some of your areas of development. It's really good for you to be able to bring to memory the things that your managers have positively said about you before, and perhaps things that you can bring into the interview itself. So hopefully that's been useful. As I say, the key thing, know your experience before you go into an interview and you will definitely perform much better. We look forward to speaking to you next time. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. For more great content like this, follow us on YouTube.